What is up, YouTube? Fortunately, been very ill today, so spent a lot of time just updating my blog. So redone that. I'll put that in the comments actually. You can see what you think. Still a lot of kind of work going through in terms of just formatting, because transfer over of like 600 blog posts takes a long time. But yeah, this is obviously all about just catching you up with my week, and get in the comments. I don't know where they will appear, but hopefully around this video. And then, yeah, hopefully I'll give my 2 cents and not sound too ill. So first thing, what did I do this week? So I did one internal shoot, and we were shooting in a chip shop. So it's tricky just getting fridges off, that kind of thing. But working with it as well. We got it down to basically the more consistent the noise, kind of the better, again, apart from level. So things that were kind of whirring up and down and on and off are a lot harder to kind of reduce in post-production. So we got it down to just the constant ones. So even trying to turn off fridges, because they generally try to cycle. There's actually, I put a resource on the app, and it'll even tell you how long legally you're allowed to have a fridge kind of off for. But generally, if there's quite easy access, fridges should keep food in pretty good order, depending on what it is, for at least like 3 or 4 hours. And so, yeah, so it's all about trying to work with the venue in terms of that. And then what else did I do? I went around, we did a couple of interviews in people's houses. So I thought I'd just share that, trying to make people feel really comfortable. And sometimes if you have the choice not to mic people that are especially really, really nervous, it can actually obviously improve the actual the kind of performance overall. Although sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes people prefer to be radio mic'd and not have kind of a boom over their head. So it's just trying to play that by ear, and yeah, obviously try and get the best results. But the more comfortable people are, the better the kind of end result. So that was quite good. One of them, we were in a conservatory and it started to rain pretty heavily. So we had to kind of maneuver and move away from that. But we did shoot some cutaways, or GVs, general visions as they're known, of some of the rain as well. So yeah, so hopefully that should all come out pretty well and kind of play. Hopefully, always see on the edit. So yeah, apart from that, the blog, now getting ill. Obviously got married last weekend, so even the start of this week was just like seeing family off and that kind of stuff, which is pretty awesome. It's kind of all about family, really, weddings, which is pretty good. Catch everyone up as a kind of nice timestamp with friends and family. So yeah, let me know in the comments how I can help. Hopefully, I'm going to be trying to do a wind test with the Bubble Bee, the kind of big over cover that they have, tomorrow, hopefully, if it's windy, because I'm trying to, the thing with quite a lot of the reviews that I'm trying to do, I'm trying to actually use the products when I actually need to use them, and not rely too heavily on many videos. I mean, unless it's like the sandbag video, for instance, where you're not quite sure how it's going to actually work out. And even I need to try and do more like hiding labs, because there's a lot on positioning, but the talent is obviously still. And I kind of find those videos, it's like, okay, well, it's good to tell me that I could hide a radio mic in X, Y, and Z, but is it noisy? Like, I understand in principle why you would put it there. And again, that's a bit of a minefield, because it depends on costume and things like that. So hopefully that will work as well. And there should be a new update to the app as well, just in terms of actually being able to get the latest from that blog. And for those just joining, I posted a link in the comments for the blog. So have a look. It's kind of a new layout, but hopefully the search functionality is much better. And what I'll be doing is trying to go through, because I already have about 500-600 blog posts on there. And not all of them are related actually to the YouTube videos. And now that I have over 600 YouTube videos, it's probably going to consolidate back down to around 1,000 blog posts. But obviously, getting through all that is a pain, but perfect for when you're ill, like I kind of am right now, which is annoying. Okay, so Alejandro, I have a question about protecting transmitter and lavalier mics in rain. What is the best method for this? So there's a couple. Actually, on the last live random hangout that we did, we talked roughly about how they would sound in the rain. But just in terms of covering, the key thing, firstly, the packs. So you can go fully extreme, for instance, and even do things like aqua packs. So aqua packs are basically straps that obviously completely you can even submerge the transmitter. Although obviously when you submerge any transmitter in water, all the RF goes and it makes it pretty redundant, but maybe useful for some with internal recording capabilities. Otherwise, condoms, you have to get non-lubricated condoms, and they are great because obviously they're just rubber, and then you can kind of clip the end, and that is completely basically a complete rubber housing. Failing that, you could obviously use, I mean, the trick is with like a plastic bag and things like that is obviously the actual movement. So whether you try and put a plastic seal around the pack and then put it within kind of a waist belt, or even like a waist pouch. I know there's quite a few companies. K-Tech just brought one out that was mainly intended for stopping transmitters getting too hot. And also Ursa straps do an individual one as well, just for individual transmitters. It's kind of just a general housing to help stop kind of scratches and bumps. So whether you put some plastic around that and then you use that to try and make sure that it's quiet, that's kind of the main thing. In terms of the actual lavalier, sorry, the trick is if you have a small enough one, like a B6 or something, then actually water won't enter into it. There's another one where you actually, instead of having a radio mic face up, you face it down. It's still omnidirectional, but what that means is when it's down is that obviously the rain is going to not kind of drop straight on the top, or at least that's the theory. And so that can kind of, just help kind of run off some of the rain and hopefully just preserve the mic. It's obviously different as well. Yeah, you're talking about rain, so obviously kind of sea salt water is kind of different because that's very kind of corrosive. So yeah, hopefully that answers a few questions about that. But those are the kind of things that come to mind. And again, all about placement for the lavalier as well, in terms of trying to get it not necessarily exposed, but in terms of having enough air to make it kind of work in the costumes. Because generally when it's raining, people are wearing a lot of layers. Doesn't sound very good unless it's out kind of outside. So yeah, take that into consideration as well. I feel like I should record my podcast like this as well with my kind of broken voice. Sounds very deep. Nathan, any advice for dealing with hairy chests and bad material, wool, silk? The trick is just get all the clothing and even all the hair away from the mic. So how you can do that is by putting things down. I mean, some people, even actors, will let you kind of shave a certain spot because they just know that that's what it's about. Generally, quite a lot of actors, I feel, generally have less body hair. I don't know. There seems to be a thing of them being obviously well groomed, and obviously then you can show off all your kick-ass abs and stuff once you don't have a hairy chest. So that's maybe a possibility. Hairy chest, yeah, you're just trying to get all the hair out the way, and generally that's also, you've got to really focus on that kind of cable. Because again, the mic head, it can be obviously encased, for instance, with like a concealer or an RM11 or whatever kind of rubber mount situation or solution you're using. So that's generally quite fine, unless it's kind of poking out and then getting in the hair. It's the cable, because then the cable going over the hair, it's much like it going over some bad clothing. So I would say try and just practice a bit more in your kind of cable management. Quite a lot of people go straight down the chest, but actually curve underneath the kind of bicep, whatever it's called, the chest. Is it bicep? I'm losing my mind. I'm on too much cough medicine for me. Yeah, on the pecs or whatever. Yeah, this is bicep. Yeah, around the pecs is kind of a natural place to kind of get some room, and then obviously try and use some extra tape. Maybe even use some of the over covers or the bubble bee kind of piece of fur or anything to kind of give that separation while also being kind of comfortable for the actor. Even as a tape, maybe even just failing that. I mean, gaffer tape, triangles potentially. Like it's anything to get it away, and even actually and there's a kind of chest strap, so you can actually get one where it will hold and you can actually hide the cable really easily down round to the side of the body. So check out that video if you search on YouTube sound rolling ursa chest strap. Then that could be a good option for you. But generally, even the bad material, if there's layers of bad material, it's trying to keep all the layers either joined or separated in some way. Double-sided tape sometimes, although I found that, I mean, if you do it too much, the problem is when the person starts moving, it can be a bit of a pain in the ass. But yeah, it's just kind of that trial and error with that. But I would say trying to separate layers and try and keep things apart is the kind of main thing. So hopefully that answers that question as well. Let me know if there's more questions, and also if this is actually kind of streaming well as well. I haven't even looked yet. Let me check it out. Check it out. Yeah, I'm live right now. Okay, it's not looking too bad. My internet has usually been terrible these past couple of days for some reason. Yeah. So if that's it, then yeah, I'm all in favor of keeping this short and sweet. That's kind of 2 extra useful blog posts now that everything's pretty much going on the blog. So yeah, and I forget what else I'm kind of doing as well. Just trying to figure everything out. So Nathan, how do you approach producers / locations about noisy stuff? Ideally, this is pretty much the image of tech recce's. Tech recce's are, yeah, they're big bars. It's very hard to do that sometimes. What I try and do is get, if you, especially, let's say you have a couple of fridges and then refilled, try and get everything moved into one fridge, whether it just be like Coca-Cola or stuff like that, that they don't want to mess with. And then that means that you can shut off a couple of fridges and just deal with one fridge and just put loads of stuff over the top of it or in the way. In terms of bars, it's very tricky if it's an active bar, especially. I've done on my last feature film, there was massive wine fridges, so they look very impressive to shoot with, but obviously they make a lot of noise. And they wouldn't let us do anything, and obviously we can't move all the wine out, and it's just lots and lots of money, and so you just have to go with it. So then it's trying to negotiate with maybe face their backs to make your case and go with it. I feel like it's one of these things where you are employed to be almost like a consultant, a doctor, that kind of thing, and it's the equivalent of telling say a seriously obese person or like a full-time smoker or whatever, this is what you need to do, or this is what the result, this is what you have to do to get X result. And if that person chooses to keep doing whatever, then you've kind of done your bit. You've imparted what it is. Yes, you have to kind of deal with the fact that it's hindered the production overall. And they may even have to ADR, they may have to do stuff, but you were there, you said what you were going to do and what the results were. But the key thing is to come up with solutions. So you can come up and instead of saying, this is very noisy, I need to turn it off, you go, this is very noisy. The way I've dealt with it in the past is we either periodically just turn it off and we will get a runner who will, as soon as we start a take, turn something off. And then as soon as the take has stopped, then we turn it back on. And this will make sure that the life of the food or whatever is inside is maintained at a certain kind of temperature. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So those are pretty much how I would deal with it. So if you have any more questions, let me know in the comments at the side. Thank you very much for enjoying the videos. It's quite hard to do, but I'm getting there. I'm ill, so I've just been doing lots of stuff with a blog and kind of consolidating everything on that. And yeah, I think this has been about 16 minutes. We've got 3 solid questions, I think. So I might call it there, although it obviously takes a while for people to join. So um, yeah, people are saying amazing things on the chat. This is the fun thing of live. Everyone's just going all over the place. Amazing. The trolling is unbelievable. So my plan for next week, kind of got a few more shoots, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. So any advice about recording low what? Any advice about recording low level dialogue? It's trying to get it so it's I mean, it's again all about that kind of perception. So it's again having that discussion with the director about how much this is going to be able to play and how much you're going to be able to get away with in the post production side of things. It can obviously be very hard in terms of an actor's performance to make sure that you are basically dealing with kind of being able to get audible dialogue. But then obviously having that performance, because again, at the end of the day, it's kind of all about the performance in the end. So it's about approaching it with the director, with the artist, and just trying to get a bit more level until it's basically they feel uncomfortable. And yeah, that's basically the only way how you're going to be able to kind of get any kind of usable performance out of everything. What do you do if you find your director to be very rude? Again, you just have to maybe think about how you're approaching the kind of question. Maybe they're just coming off. Maybe it's a bad time to ask the question. A lot of directors, they obviously they have a lot of stress to deal with, and especially for production, isn't going the right way. Then it's the kind of trick of making sure that you choose your right time to ask for certain stuff. And sometimes it's not going to be the right time. So that's kind of always going to be tricky. So with that, I'm going to go get some food. We're going to end this here. I think it's always good when they're about 20 minutes long. And yeah, I'll put them all on the blog. And until next time, I will see you later.